In Dynamite Collision on deck, we call every move, every hit, every check. If you want the truth, opinions, and fire, welcome to the winner circle.
Hey, good evening and welcome to Workhorse Wrestling Network. You are gathered with us here on this Sunday evening, August 9th, 5 p.m. Pacific, 8 p.m. Eastern, over there where Miss Anika is on the East Coast. For the Winner Circle, we are going to review AEW Collision from technically, I think it was Thursday, July 30th, because they had the live Dynamite on Wednesday and then the live Collision on Thursday. And then AEW Grand Slam Mexico. Sorry, from Wednesday night. So that's what we'll be reviewing with you people tonight. If you're new to the YouTube Workhorse Wrestling Network YouTube channel, hit that subscribe button. It helps a lot. Hit that like button on this video. That helps a lot as well. Hit that little bell so that you're notified every time we put something up on the YouTube channel. If you're with us on Facebook, or I'm not Facebook, I'm sorry, Twitch. I don't know, I'm off tonight. If you're with us on Twitch, thank you for joining us over there. Give us a follow. We used to be connected to Facebook, but not anymore. Ariel's in the house. He says, ding, ding, it's me. What's up, sir? Thank you for coming and joining, as always. So, without further ado, I guess, how you doing over there, Miss Anika? How has your Sunday been?
It's been very much so relaxing, but I need football to come back because it's been boring as all get out.
It's about to start. It's about to start. This is preseason month, and then September we'll get regular football, so it's about to start. As a Cowboys fan, everything looks good. Everything looks good, but it always looks good, and then it always goes bad. So I'm cautiously optimistic. So, but Jacksonville should be good. So, and I know that's your team, so they should be good again this year. So, AEW Collision from Thursday, July 30th. We had 2 back-to-back live nights. Dynamite live on Wednesday, Collision live on Thursday, both in Detroit. And Collision kicked off with I guess technically the return because they've been here before. But isn't this the first time that they've technically announced themselves as being all elite? Because we've seen the Motor City Machine Guns on AEW television before. Correct? Yes. I've seen them before. I swear I've seen them before on AEW television. I'm pretty positive. But they were here like a minute and they did a match, I want to say, or a couple matches, but they were never like all elite. And this time they announced that they're all elite, which means they were here. Motor City Machine Guns here in Detroit. Happy to say we're here in Detroit, our hometown. We've been representing for a lot of years, 20 plus years. And we are happy to announce that we are all elite. So, I mean, what do you think of the Motor City Machine Guns being in AEW full time? What does that do for the tag team division?
This definitely feels right. I will say, I'm not going to knock what they did in WWE because, it was a grand old time, and it pisses me off that WWE let that grand old time go. So it feels so easily, like backtracking to 2025, and it was them, it was Fraxium, it was Street Profits, it was even the YS6. I want to say it was another one up in them John that I'm missing right now, John Gargano and Ciampa. Like it was. If you're a tag team fan, last year was a grand old time. Like just going to the SmackDown after Mania where it should have been their match at Mania, but for some reason it wasn't. I digress. So that's SmackDown they killed it, and then SummerSlam didn't take him mistake twice and made it into a TLC match. And Candice LeRae with her crazy behind took a freaking bump fell off a top ladder because she's Candice LeRae, and it was so good. It was so good, but then then WWE or WWE, and like we need a long behind reign with the fourth team on the roster that should have had them belts that long. I'll just say that. And then like the white six, and then you make them face Solo Sequoia and NLT, and it didn't even make it to WrestleMania. It's just like, so we just killed probably the best thing on SmackDown for what? So like I said, I barely enjoy them WWE, but this definitely feels like home. I I hope they're ready for this because we can like I do say it does feel like home, like they're in the right space, but AEW has not been on proper footing with tag teams in a minute. That's just my opinion. Where more so like you depend on the already made team to always shine. It's like you can't rely on that, especially AEW. Your thing was every team is good. So I'm hoping they do right with this in every capacity, in every way.
I couldn't agree with you more. I mean, it's going to be very interesting to see what they do with them because the tag team division has been down to a certain extent. And even though they have the best tag teams, a couple of the best tag teams in the world, it's still a very small division, right? There isn't a whole lot going on. And so I imagine that it gives them at least a bigger chance to make a bigger impact. So that would be good. I want to see him
Yeah.
wrestle, Cope and Cage. I want to see him wrestle FTR. I want to see him wrestle the Young Bucks. I want to see him wrestle everybody. So I'm here for all that. Hopefully they'll, like you said, they'll do right by them, and hopefully they'll get some, some solid matches under their belt, and maybe even some time with the titles at some point. It does feel like home for them though, because they've built their career as kind of indie wrestlers and smaller market guys. So even though AEW isn't the smaller market anymore and isn't necessarily an indie, it still has the feel of the home of those guys, right? Like that's where the indie
Mm-hmm.
wrestlers come to wrestle, right? Is AEW. So yeah, so it definitely feels like where the Motor City Machine Guns belong. We got a trios champion match. The Demand, Ricochet, Toa Leona, and Bishop Khan defending against the Rascals, all three of the Rascals. And a solid match. I enjoyed this. I thought this was good. I guess it makes sense because the Demand didn't win these belts that long ago. So I guess I understand why they're winning here. At the same time, like we've talked about needing to pull the trigger on the Rascals and that they should be trios champion, if not already at some point soon. So, I mean, it kind of is what it is to take this loss here. I mean, it wasn't a terrible loss. I thought they looked good in the match. I thought everyone had good chemistry and both teams looked solid, but they did take the loss and the Demand does retain the titles. So maybe we're going to run this back at some point, very in the near future. And maybe the Rascals do get the win for the belts at some point here, but I guess we'll have to see. What do you think of this match, though? What do you think about the Demand retaining here?
This was a good match. Like, even though Ricochet is playing heel, his wrestling skills are still goated, which is kind of crazy because he's in his late. Well, I'm not gonna put no time on him, but I'm going to assume that he's either in the mid-30s or late 30s. Where he's definitely been doing this over 10 years, 15 years, and for him to keep going at a very good rate is definitely something to be noteworthy. And I love them. I love Gates of Agony, aka the Man. I love them to the depth of my soul. And the Rascals are the Rascals. Like it feels like no matter what, they're gonna have a good old time in that ring. And they have yet to disappoint me. I totally agree with you about the Rascals. I don't know what we're doing here. It really feels like they're in a Chad Gable situation 2 years ago where Chad, like, it really was like, oh, you want a new person or a new team to look great, put them against Chad Gable. It feels like that, where it's like, oh, a new trio champions, or you need someone, you need a good match from them, put them against the Raptors. Like, that's all fine and dandy, but at some point in time, we want our shine too. So I'm not sure how they get it, but I hope they get it. I do.
DM is in the house. Hola. Hey. She says, my service is spotty, so what did it say? Can you actually show it? My service is spotty. So I'll be on the replay. Let's see. Next we have the conglomeration. Well, we know that we're going to be having they announced that we're going to be starting the Continental Cup. And it looks like, I guess, the finals will be at Wembley and all in, so they're going to do it pretty quick. I mean, it's a single elimination tournament. What?
So real quick, did it always start in August? It feels like, okay, I'm trying to think. Last year, Moxley won. It was definitely after All In. So I guess we are, but it feels like they started early this year. Am I right or wrong?
I don't know if they started early, but I know that they're going to have I mean, I think didn't they say that? Hope for fighting for the AEW for the Continental Challenge Cup in Wembley Stadium. So it sounds like the finals is at All In. It's only 3 weeks, so
yeah, that's definitely early because it was after All In last year, which is kind of crazy.
So earlier in the calendar, yeah. I think I agree. Yeah, I think you're right. That does so. The conglomeration is backstage. They've got Orange Cassidy, Kyle O'Reilly, and Roderick Strong. They're gonna ask, she's asking how they're gonna get back on track. He said that Orange Cassidy said that he entered the Continental Club and Kyle to try to bring some life back to the conglomeration. Kyle O'Reilly said, so did I, and Roderick Strong said, so did I. So all three of them are apparently in the Continental Cup, and they were asked, well, what if we have to face each other? And they just kind of brushed that aside and said, let's go, win the Continental Cup. Plus, they're going to do the Ice Bucket Challenge, the ALS Ice Bucket Challenge tonight. So they talked for a second about that. What do you think about this little conglomeration promo? Wow, I'm having trouble speaking tonight.
Very useful information. Very useful information. These are great wrestlers. So I'm excited about all three of them in this tournament. Like, it's gonna, like, no matter what match they have, it's gonna be so good. So yay.
I agree. I like the Continental Cup. I'm a fan of it. So then they talked a little bit about it. The winner will be the Continental Champion and win the Continental Challenge Cup. The matches begin next week on Collision. All matches are drawn at random. And surprisingly and very much making my heart happy, Mr. Nigel McGuinness has said he's throwing his hat in the ring in the Continental Cup. He says, let's do it one more time. So Nigel will be in the Continental Cup, which is cool. And then it says, yes, the final will be at Wembley. So I'm excited for the Continental Cup. What do you think about Nigel being in the Continental Cup?
That's gonna be so good. Even though the match between him and Danielson was cool, it feels like he was just warming up. His like he was just getting the ring rust off. So it's like it feels like we like I want more from him. We're just like it feels like we're just starting to get the old Nigel back. Even though I wasn't there for the old Nigel, like act like the Nigel bring up. I don't even act like that, but no, it feels like he's just starting to get the wheels spinning. So I am very happy that he is in the tournament. And it's like they weren't like now it's like he's gonna fade. Oh my god.
Agreed. Tommaso Ciampa has a squash match against Nick Comoroto, which I thought was a solid match. I guess Ciampa's head is still kind of a wound from his fight with Chris Jericho, right? And I mean, of course, he's going to beat Nick Comoroto. It's the first time we've seen Nick Comoroto in a long time. It'll be it sounds like maybe Ciampa's away from Jericho. Maybe that's over, which is great for Ciampa, except if they don't do anything else with him. But they got to do something else with him, and him stomping or him squashing Nick Comoroto is probably not enough. But, here it is. He did squash Nick Comoroto. What do you think of this squash match?
It was a squash match.
What do you want for Ciampa next?
I am glad that he's away from Jericho. I'm hoping that they're going to later, like, I'm not sure they announced everybody who's in the Continental Classic, but I'm hoping he will be a part of that because I think that was very much a fantastic. That was some very good matches. But it's time to get. I don't think it's time to get serious, but it is like let's put another good program for one of these doggone titles. So yeah, if they haven't announced everyone for Continental Classic just yet, I would definitely love to see him in this tournament.
Yeah. No, I agree with all of that. Let's see. We have Hangman Page is with Brodito. And they want a trios match at All Elite or Grand Slam Mexico. They want to call themselves the Good, the Bad, and the Ugly. And Brody King wants to know who the ugly one is. Are you calling me the ugly? Because I mean, I guess Bandito's the bad guy, the Bandito. Hangman's the good guy. Like, I think it's funny. I thought this was funny. I'm here for these guys together. I guess technically Hangman can't challenge for the world title ever again, right? So he's got to do a bunch of other stuff. So him with Brodito is fine. I thought this was a funny little promo. What do you think about this?
Brody, you're not the ugly one. I just wanted to be very clear. You're not the ugly one. That's just I don't know. Maybe ugly and fighting. How about that? Because you're a brawler. We'll say that about you, but you're not the ugly one. I'll assure you, darling. This is cool. This is cool. Listen. This journey of Hangman not going for the World Heavyweight Championship is going to be an interesting one. Like if this was on Darby Allin, I would have no qualms about it because it feels like Darby don't pick that belt like that, right? And I can see him going for a TNT championship and actually making it mean something because that's his baby. So, but this is it's Hangman though, right? So if Hangman is not in the main event scene, because that's the World Heavyweight Championship is the main event scene, it's like that kind of like okay, so we'll never. It poses a conundrum a little bit because I think like him versus Swerve is one of his biggest feuds, so we're not gonna get Swerve versus him anymore. Like you said, him versus MJF. Maybe it's just me. I thought there's still meat on that bone, so it's like we're not gonna get that for a minute. So it's very much so interesting to see him not commit a little bit to the mid card scene. And I'm not saying he can't do it, but I'm just saying it's going to be interesting to see.
I agree. He feels very directionless. Without him being, at least in the main event title mix, he feels very directionless. And even though, him with Brodito is fun, like that's not enough to sustain Hangman Page. Like and he's been very inconsistently on TV. He's been here, he'll come in, have a match, and then disappear again for another month. Which maybe that's why they decided to write in that he can't compete for the title again in that left. Maybe there's something going on. He's trying to spend more time with family. Who knows what it is, but he's definitely not on TV every week. They don't have him in continuous storylines. So yeah, I agree. It's going to be very interesting to see, especially for a guy that's been talked about as his story is the heart of AEW, right? Like, well, so you can't just have him doing nothing. Real quick, Ariel asks, have we seen? Hold on, sorry, wrong mouse. I got two mouses here. Have we heard from Thekla since the PLE? I have not. I'm trying to think. I don't think so. I don't think she said anything since losing to Willow. It's been all about Willow and Mercedes and All In, and she hasn't said anything yet. I haven't heard anything. So it'll be very interesting to see when she comes back and what she has to say. I'm kind of surprised that we haven't yet, but let's see. Next, we had Hazuki and the Brawling Birds against the ROH Women's World Champion, Miss Athena, her minion, Billy Stark, and Diamante, who we haven't seen in a while. So kind of an
Wow.
interesting team. I mean, Billy Stark is often with Athena, so I guess that's not interesting. But Diamante doesn't normally roll with the two of them, so that seems a little different. But nonetheless, this is really, unfortunately for Athena, when she should never be used this way, a showcase really for the Brawling Birds. And I guess a little bit for Hazuki to kind of put Hazuki on the map, I guess, in AEW. So but as you would expect, because the Brawling Birds are going to ultimately compete for those tag team titles with Divine Dominion, that they would get the win, and they did. I mean, even though Athena is the Ring of Honor Women's World Champion, these three women are behind the paywall. The other three are not, and they're on AEW TV all the time. So you can kind of see the writing on the wall a little bit. The Brawling Birds are on the upswing for sure because they want to try to make that match with Divine Dominion feel more important, right? And feel like there's a better chance that they could actually win, which I'm hoping that they do. I thought Hazuki looked good. Athena always looked good. I'm always happy to see Athena on AEW television. So that was good. Billy Stark is fine. Diamante, is solid. So I mean, I thought the wrestling was okay. I just feel like they're basically the third wheel, and especially with the post match stuff, we'll get to after the match. But it feels like this was kind of a Brawling Bird showcase, even though you have the Ring of Honor Women's World Champion. What do you think about this, the match, and then I'll talk about post match.
It was cool. Boo to using Athena to prop us up. Sorry, boo. I don't care if she's the forever reigning or always champion. I have not seen her until you put her on Dynamite or Collision. So boo. You could have had someone else in this arc to uplift the Brawling Birds for whatever. It was a good match. I am glad to see Diamante because we definitely need more bodies. So that was really cool. But yeah, nah. I'm gonna tell y'all putting Athena in places that she should not be in. But yeah, this was a cool match. It's fine. Whatever. It is what it is.
Post match, Divine Dominion marched down to the ring and attacked the Brawling Birds, pulled them from ringside, threw them both out into the steel steps. While Athena beat up Hazuki. Let's see. They body slammed Hayter and Windsor onto the ring stage. I mean, they basically, Divine Dominion basically beat up the Brawling Birds post match. What do you think about? Do you think the Brawling Birds will beat Divine Dominion?
Yes.
No.
Yes. No offense. But All In is the Osprey show. And who was his wife? Alex Windsor. So no, you already didn't let her win the Owen Cup. She's getting them tattoo titles. And even besides that, it does feel like it's time for Divine Dominion to drop them. Like it feels like it's time. let's all do something new after all this.
Agreed. Bandito, or earlier, I guess I failed to mention earlier, Paige and them technically were challenged. They challenged Ricochet for the trios titles. They won a titles match. So Ricochet and the Demand address them and basically accept their challenge for Arena Mexico. And then it was surprising for me. Explain to me, because I guess I don't understand why Jay Lethal is part of a Demand. Why he was there in the Demand promo to say he's beating Commander in Arena Mexico. Like I didn't see the crossover, but it is what it is, I guess. I mean, maybe Jay Lethal's running around with the Demand a little bit. I'm not
sure. So on Collision, we haven't talked about Collision. Like we've been skipping some shows, but the Lethal Twist, which is him and some other people, have been helping the Demand. Like they're not exactly together, but they have been helping each other for a couple of weeks. So it's not entirely out the blue. That's not entirely out the blue, but it is like, okay. That's where we're at right now. I don't hate it because it's more digital on our television, and I definitely should be a thing. Where it's just like, yeah, I'm not mad at that at all.
Next we had Gore, Gore, Gore. Rhino make an appearance at the AEW show with the conglomeration and the insane clown posse, the Juggalos, to do the ice bucket challenge. So Cassidy, Strong, and O'Reilly did the ice bucket challenge. They put chairs in a big swimming pool full of ice and basically sit in it, I guess, for whatever. I mean, that was basically what it was, right? And then they get out and they, and they all shake hands and go back. So the crowd chanted "Rebel." It's for a good cause. Obviously, it's for ALS, all those things. So, anything you want to say about the ice bucket challenge in this little segment?
It is so nice. It is so nice that they're shouting out Rebel like this. Listening to how it happened is that's so crazy. Where it's like 1 year she was good, and then literally the next year it just all of a sudden came on her. So I'm very happy for AEW promoting this. Uh, they're gonna do a special thing for her in September. Like I'm not sure how this works. It probably won't happen, but in my fantasy, this is definitely a fantasy. I would love if Gargano can use can send his theme song. He's been laying on a crate for the past 6 months, so he hasn't been using his theme song in a minute. I would love if they could use Rebel Heart for this show. I would love that. This Rebel Heart, this Rebel Heart. Yeah. I would love if they could use that, but again, it's a fantasy. But I am very much so appreciative that they're doing this for Rebel and it's for a good cause. So I'm here for all of it. The only thing they didn't do is that they had to shout out the next person to do it. That. So it's like who's the next person to do the ice bucket challenge? My favorite so far is Sting because it's Sting. It's like, sir, I'm not even sure how old. I'm pretty sure you're over 60, but you're still the coolest person alive. Like, sure, there you go.
That's funny. Next, we had what was a very interesting outcome. The Bang Bang Gang, Austin Gunn, Colton Gunn, Ace Austin, Juice Robinson, so Sans Jay White, actually defeated the Death Riders, John Moxley, Pac, Claudio Castagnoli, and Wheeler Yuta, which I thought was kind of interesting. I mean, they've been going back and forth, and I don't have any problem with the Bang Bang Gang beating anybody. I just think it's interesting that they get the win over what is essentially the premier faction in AEW, and with, you know, one of the top 3 to 5 wrestlers in the company and John Moxley in the match. So, it'd be less surprising if it was Daniel Garcia and Wheeler Yuta in a tag team match taking a loss to 2 of the Guns, or even if it was Claudio and Pac with Daniel Garcia and Wheeler Yuta taking a loss. That is for John, but, it is what it is. Wheeler took the pin. So, I mean, I guess at least there's that. And, I thought it was fine. Let's talk about. Tell me what you thought about the match, and then we'll talk about post match. What do you think about the match
cool.
itself?
Yeah, the match is cool. Very surprised turn of events. Yeah, like you said, especially with John. Like no offense, but we do know who's the A player, the B player of the Death Rider. So to have John Moxley in here and lose, it is so much crazy. I'm going to assume it gives me hope for the future, and I'll talk about that later after post match. We'll go post match. Yeah.
So post match, Pac and Yuta started to attack Juice Robinson. The Guns kind of ran him off a little bit. Then the Dogs showed up. And started to try to pick apart the Bang Bang Gang, and then the Motor City Machine Guns came down to help the Bang Bang Gang, and we had a lot of people in the ring. The Death Riders started to climb up on the apron to try to attack the Bang Bang Gang and the Motor City Machine Guns. Moxley kind of called them off, like, better judgment, maybe to fight again another day. Well, the Guns had their backs turned. Finley and whatchamacallit. Oh, Finley attacked him, tried to attack him from behind, but the Guns hit the 310 to Yuma on Finley. And then the Bang Bang Gang and the Motor City Machine Guns essentially stood tall in the ring, kind of showing each other some love. So it sounds like, I mean, if they're not united in some way, at least they're in some kind of, they like each other. Let's put it that way. So Yeah, I mean, I thought the post-match stuff was interesting. It gets the Motor City Machine Guns involved right away in something, and them versus the Death Riders seems to be kind of natural because the Death Riders, no matter how John Moxley wants to act or say, are definitely heels, and the Motor City Machine Guns are definitely faces. So that feels like a natural there. Some conglomeration of the Death Riders. Yeah, and I think this further solidifies, even though I it's hard for me with Jay White to see him as a face. Clearly, the Bang Bang Gang are faces. I mean, they have to be. So, even though AEW has a lot of tweeners, and they clearly have to be faces. So, I thought this was fun. The end was a little crazy. You get quite a bit of stuff going on, and it's a little hectic, but I mean, it's still fun, and I'm here for all of it. What do you think of the post match stuff?
Like you said, this was a lot, but it wasn't overwhelming. I will say that. I kind of get it because I was the one who said, "Why is the debut of what you call it? Why is the debut of the Machine Guns on Collision? So at least their what you call it? Their debut match shouldn't be on Collision." So I kind of get why the Bang Bang. I think that's why we're like, okay, we can't have the Machine Guns on Collision, their debut match. How about Bang Bang Gang wins against Death Riders, and then everybody comes out, and here comes Machine Guns. So I kind of get it to an extent. It's to an extent. If the Machine Guns first feud is with the Death Riders, cool. I, I I guess like more so like, in my mind, you can't you can't just drop kick them into the tag team title. I mean you can, but as of right now, all in is right is the main thing right now, right? So as of right now, no, you can't put them in a feud between uh Young Bucks or Christian and Cole. But so I guess Death already makes this thing to that point. I'm hoping that because the Bayman game won, that Jay White is coming back soon, and maybe this is hopefully setting up him versus Moxley. That's my hope, or that's why the Bang Bang game won as well. Where it's just like hopefully that's the match we're trying to get at All In Moxley versus Jay White. I'm hoping that is the reason why Bang Bang game won as well. But this was all fun.
I'm here for Moxley versus Jay White.
Like, if that's the plan, please, and thank you. And it does make sense, even though Jay White didn't get the win, the Bang Bang King got the win. So that's his win by proxy.
Even though I say I'm surprised that the Bang Bang Gang gets a win, I mean, you want to keep teams feeling good and relevant, and you want to keep teams feeling like they're strong, everybody. So sometimes, even the team that you think isn't going to win has to get the win, right? So the Death Riders can't win everything all the time, even with Moxley wrestling. So it's good for them to take a loss sometimes, show that they're a little human, and show that the Bang Bang Gang is actually on their level. So, it does make some sense. At Grand Slam Mexico, we're going to get Ciampa versus Andrade. Ciampa has some more stuff to say. I was a little confused. I'll talk about what he says in a minute, but I was a little confused why this ended up in two different spots. Like, it felt like Ciampa, I mean, you squashed Camarado. You had time in the ring. You should have just grabbed the mic and kind of said this at that point. Like, I'm not sure why we had two different Tommaso Ciampa sightings on in one episode of Collision, but it is what it is. Not that I'm necessarily complaining. It just seems like an odd way to do it. But Ciampa says he went through hell with the Painmaker and survived. I don't know about that. I don't know. Jericho at 60 is giving anybody hell. But nonetheless, we'll give him the credit. He beat the Painmaker. So, tonight should be everyone's 90-second warning shot because he is very much alive. He's focused on All In and the Casino Gauntlet. He knows that Andrade El Idolo is in a match for the number 1 spot next week, and Ciampa's going to take that spot from him. He wants that number 1 spot in the gauntlet match. What do you think of this little Ciampa promo?
Cool. So we said we want something special for Ciampa. Because about the belt, to be very clear. Andrade is the NWA Master Company champion right now, right? That's the belt Andrade holds because he beat.
They're calling it the AEW National Championship, but that was the NWA National Championship. So,
okay, but so that's the belt he's holding. Okay, cool. So that's what Ciampa's going for. I am not mad that he has a match on a special TV version of a special TV showing of Dynamite, so that's cool. It is kind of weird to have in here twice, where it's just like, huh? We don't listen. It's Collision. It's so much hyping up you can do on Collision. One of these could have been on Dynamite, but you chose not to. So at this point, so you trying to double for Collision? I'm not sure it worked, but I am glad you tried, I guess. But it was cool. Ciampa is Ciampa, and he's going to sell, whether on Collision Dynamite or the return of freaking dark matches. He's going to be Ciampa, point blank, period. So I didn't have any problems with it.
Where is that? Chris Statlander in a match versus Aurora Thebes, who I'm not familiar with. Before the match, though, Chris Statlander issues a challenge to Persephone for AEW Grand Slam Mexico on Wednesday of the following week. So we'll talk about that when we talk about that show next. But then Chris Statlander proceeded to go in and basically squash this Aurora Tevis. Which is fine. I mean, again, I don't know who she is. I feel bad for the women that get an opportunity, and there's the opportunity, but this is what wrestling's known for. This is what happens all the time. I'm also, always frustrated when, I mean, don't get me wrong, like 2 hours of Collision and 2 hours of Dynamite is 4 hours of AEW TV a week. It's a lot, but I still get frustrated when you have the roster that you have and we're seeing squash matches. Like, we know how good, just want some explanation about it. We know how good Chris Statlander is. We don't need to see her come in and beat somebody that we've never seen before in their very first opportunity on AEW television in that way. Like, it doesn't serve Aurora Tevis. It doesn't serve. I mean, I guess she gets on TV, so I guess it serves her in that way. But she doesn't look good in defeat. She doesn't win. She doesn't get any boost from this per se. And I don't know what this is supposed to do for Statlander. Like, we already know she's a big bad chick. I mean, what more do we need to know? We've seen her do this before. We've seen her do this against quality competition, let alone someone that we've never seen before that clearly is not quality competition. So I just think it doesn't, when we say in the past, make it make sense, this is one of those times. Like, it just doesn't, I'm not sure the purpose of even putting this match together in the first place. It just seems odd to me. What do you think of the match?
Like you said, it was a squash match, so how much can we really say about it? I will give it a little grace because it feels like, maybe it's just me, we haven't got a daily dose of Statlander in a minute. So this is her comeback match. It's like it didn't have to be a squash match, but it didn't have to be against someone really important. So it's like, who's let it be against Julia Hart, let it be against Sky Blue, like someone like that, not the main event, but almost there, where it's like, okay, that was a suitable match for Statlander come back. So it makes more sense. So to that point, but I definitely agree with you. Like, squash matches, do we really need it? Not really, but Statlander and AEW is a monopoly, where it's like we know how good it is, but it does sometimes feel like y'all do realize how y'all realize how good she is. Like she's really good.
Yeah, I guess so.
Even if she
I don't know.
like crazy enough, she was women's world heavyweight champion, and it feels like we still haven't tapped into full Statlander mode, which is crazy.
No, I agree with that. I mean, I agree with that. I guess it shows that she's coming back in her old, tough self again. I don't know. We already know that she's bad. I guess it is what it is. We get Kyle Fletcher and Speedball Mike Bailey, who are going to have a match at AEW Grand Slam Mexico. And in the meantime, they're going to go face to face with Lexi Nair and not be able to control themselves. So they like to come face to face, talk a little shit. I'm not going to get into what they say, but Kyle Fletcher can't handle it and attacks Mike Bailey essentially. And then they end up brawling down to the arena side. And then Fletcher kicks him in the jaw. Bailey rolled through, kicked Fletcher in the chest. They went back and forth a little bit. Speedball tried to the time adventure kick. Fletcher rolled out of the ring. And ultimately, Speedball was left in the ring with Kyle Fletcher's international title and held it up while Kyle Fletcher looked very disgruntled on the ramp. Couple questions here. What did you think of this little interaction? And are you excited? We'll talk about it. I mean, you already know what happens, but are you excited for Speedball versus Kyle Fletcher for that title? Does it feel like Speedball deserves to be getting that spot? Do you think that's the right spot for him? And Kyle Fletcher, whatever. What do you think?
So I appreciate them giving Speedball the spot, more so because we talked about this a couple of weeks ago, where it feels like when they gave Kevin Knight the spot to shine on him, they kind of let Speedball hang in the wind. So I am very happy that he has this spot. Now, with this moment, I know some people are like, just enjoy the match. Yes, the match is going to be good. The match is going to be good. But if you ask me, my expectations on who wins is still always and forever going to be what you call it. I don't give it to Speedball. I give it to Fletcher. I'm not sure like how you can sway me the other side, but it is what it is. So that does kind of damper my enthusiasm about watching the match. Where it's like, I know Fletcher's gonna win, but it's gonna be a good match. So it's like, but that's Fletcher though. Where it's like you know he's gonna win, but it's gonna be a good match. So that part is what it is. When Speedball holds the belt up, I'm like, oh, now we know he's not gonna win. Sir, do you not know the trope? The trope is whoever holds the belt before the match loses. Like, bro, you know this. Why would you hold the belt up? Now it's solidified. But it was a good little moment. It was a good little hype up for the match on Dynamite. So I think he's totally mad at it.
Interesting. I mean, it's not 100%, but there are some things that, like, if you've watched wrestling long enough, you see little things happen, and it's like 85% or 90% foreshadowing that's how now you know how the match is going to turn out, or like little, like you're talking about, like. So yeah, and unfortunately, Kyle Fletcher, um, it, it's great for the international championship for Kyle Fletcher to have it. That belt is a little
Yes.
below Kyle Fletcher's stature at the moment. And unfortunately, Speedball doesn't beat Kyle Fletcher. I mean, he might beat him once or twice out of 10 matches, but 80 or 90%, eight or 9 out of 10 times, Kyle Fletcher beats Mike Bailey. It just is what it is. And additionally, like, yes, AEW is the home of kind of the independent guy, the small guy. It's the place where Darby Allin became world champion. I get that, but like you said, like there was almost a point where it was like, are we picking Kevin Knight? Are we picking Mike Bailey? And maybe they didn't think of it that way, but it sure feels that way to the fans. And so it feels like there's only really room for one of them at this moment in time. So, and Kevin Knight's already gotten the belt. So chances are good they're not going to put a belt on Kevin Knight and a belt on Mike Bailey at the same time. Like, I just don't. Yeah, the roster is big enough. Yeah, there's enough belts. You could. but I just don't see that happening. So, and especially not against Kyle Fletcher. So, yeah, I mean, I'm excited for the match, and we'll talk about it. But I don't, like you said, I mean, I just don't. I don't expect Mike Bailey to beat Kyle Fletcher. The Kevin Knight said the Don Callis family is a family of world champions, past, present, and future. So on behalf of himself, Okada, and Hechicera, he's issuing a challenge to any former world champions that want to step to them next week at Grand Slam Mexico in a trios match. So, okay, it is what it is. Anything you want to say about this?
Ooh, who's gonna be it? Ooh.
Who's going to be? No spoilers till we talk about the next show.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's fine.
Fun.
Commander versus Jay Lethal in a solid match. I thought that this might have had Commander's best rope run ever that I've seen. He went from the one corner all the way to the other corner and then off, and it actually looked really, 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 really good. I enjoyed that one.
Yeah.
So I always enjoyed Jay Lethal. You know, I guess I'm torn. I guess I'm not terribly surprised Commander gets the win because it feels like Commander does get a little bit more TV time, and Jay Lethal's definitely a Ring of Honor guy. At the same time, like, it's fucking Jay Lethal and it's Commander. Like, I still feel like there's levels to this shit. And even though we don't see Jay Lethal a lot, and even though he's old, like, I don't think Commander should be beating Jay Lethal. Like, that feels wrong to me. So, no disrespect to Commander, but it just feels wrong to me. So I was a little disappointed in that, and a little disappointed with the just kind of the booking of Jay Lethal recently. But it is what it is. I like Lethal Twist as a team. They just don't get booked very well. And again, they're ROH guys, so 90% of what they do is behind their 95% is behind the paywall. So we see them very little. But when we do see them, it hasn't been very good for them. So what do you think of this? Commander versus Jay Lethal.
I echo everything you said, where I think we fans are in a tough spot where it's just like not letting go of the past, but it is a matter of it's Jay Lethal. Like we're not asking him to be heavyweight champion, but we are just giving him like, dang, one more win, dog. But no, him with the Commander is great. And like, if you're going to like this match, at least was close to, I almost don't know. I'm going to give the Commander to win, but I don't know. Which makes it a little bit more tasty to watch. But all in all, a great match. Yeah.
It is time for the main event. Will Ospreay, who has Kenny Omega coming up at All In, is absolutely determined to run himself as ragged as he possibly can prior to that match. I'm very surprised. I mean, I get it. You're Will Ospreay. You love to wrestle, all those things. I'm still very surprised that with some of his injury history and stuff, that Tony Khan is a businessman, knowing how important Wembley is, that he has Will Ospreay doing as much work as he's doing prior to Wembley. You could be doing a lot more talking and a lot less wrestling. And I get it. I mean, Will probably wants to wrestle and he wants to do it all. Sometimes you have to protect people from themselves. That being said, Will Ospreay facing a former fellow Death Rider, and Daniel Garcia, in what was a very good match. I mean, again, Will Ospreay is at the point in his career where he doesn't have bad matches. Daniel Garcia, on the other hand, has not reached that level, and so Will Ospreay had to carry him a little bit, but anyone in the ring benefits from being in the ring with Will Ospreay. So Will is so good. His matches are so good. His storytelling is so good that, everything looks good with him doing it. So is this a spot that Daniel Garcia, I think, is a little over his head? Yes, I do. Do I understand why he's here? I do. It makes sense. this is a good match for him. He's got beef ultimately with the Depth Riders, maybe not John per se, but the other ones because of denying the Depth Rider patch and protecting Omega from the Depth Riders. So he definitely, the more loyal and hardcore Depth Riders, if Daniel Garcia's the Pax, Claudio's don't like him. So I get that. So this feels natural. I think, and don't get me wrong, the main event of Collision is not over the head of Daniel Garcia. The main event of Collision against Will Ospreay is a little over Daniel Garcia's head. Like like I talk about, there's always levels to this, and Will is way up here, and Daniel Garcia not way down here, but compared to Will, he's way down here, right? So, that being said, I thought Daniel Garcia looked decent, looked good, held his own for the most part. Will looked really good, as you would expect, and did get the win. What do you think of the match? And then we'll talk about the post match.
This match was good. I kind of echo what you said about Garcia. Like character wise, we still don't know who he is. In my opinion, like we've gotten flashes of it, but we're still like we're still trying to figure that out. But wrestling wise, Dan Garcia can definitely go. I have never seen a Dan Garcia match where just like, sir, what are we doing? Like where he majorly F up. And with Osprey, it's one of them things where just don't be a brute. Just don't mess up the match. And I don't think Daniel Garcia did that where he messed up the match. And I do love the intentional, non-intentional way of how we got here. Where it's always been Daniel Garcia that got hemmed up by Osprey, or talking like he's the big dog until Muscle's like, "Hey, shut up!" And all right, fine. So I do get why we're here. Like even like 2 weeks back, and Osprey broke away from Death Riders, and the first one he's met was Daniel Garcia. So I love the lead up to this match, and the match it was so at least a nice little final nail in that little conclusion of at least Garcia versus Osprey. I do appreciate. I also do agree with you about what you call it, wrestling before a big show is a catch 22, right? Because we still have live TV shows, but bruh, you get hurt. It really is like case in point. Jacob did a house show. Jacob Fox 2 did a match before his match against Roman, and he got hurt. Thankfully, he was good enough to do the match at Backlash, but you can tell it wasn't everything they wanted it to be. So it's like there is a self preservation of your main event you have to attain, but with this match and the match at Dynamite with him versus his boy, these two people, I'm like, okay, he shouldn't get hurt, right? Like these two people, Garcia, the technical wrestler, like there's no, I mean, like I would say, people get hurt doing the simplest of stuff, but just not being weary about who you're in the ring with. Garcia is definitely a person just like you can, what's the word, that you can feel safe in the ring with. So I do commemorate that. But like this was a fun blow off match where just like finally, even though Garcia didn't win, yeah, a nice little blow off match to one half of the Death Riders and Osprey saga.
Agreed. After the match, Osprey rolled out of the ring and tried to leave. Mark Davis basically attacked him from the crowd, or pulled him into the crowd and attacked him. Tried to power bomb him. Osprey kind of got out of the way a little bit. Mark Davis got some help from Roppongi Vice. They ultimately made their way back into the ring. Davis had a chair, and he attacked Osprey with the chair to the gut. he got the microphone. Davis got the microphone, taunted Ospreay a little bit about not having any friends. Ospreay managed to run off Roppongi Vice and Mark Davis basically by himself. And then he said if Davis wants to introduce weapons, he should have just asked. And that he's more than happy to have a Mexico City street fight on Grand Slam Mexico, as long as the Don Callis family is not allowed at ringside, or since everyone's not allowed at ringside, let's have a street fight. And yeah, very interesting. Good spot for Mark Davis. Again, I was worried a little bit about him coming back to a single Kyle Fletcher and no real Aussie Open. And yet, and a very deep Palace family roster and kind of what it would look like for him. But between the title run that he had and some of the stuff that he's done, they've done a really good job of keeping him looking very strong and on TV. So good for Mark Davis. I'm here for all this. And we'll talk about the match, but I was excited for the match. It's two guys that know each other. They wrestled together for a long time, part of United Empire over in New Japan. So former friends. So, like you were saying, Daniel Garcia is not one of those guys that does a whole lot of weird stuff in the ring. So it's pretty safe. And you're not going to get a ton of high flying. You're not going to get a ton of weapon work and that kind of stuff with the Daniel Garcia. So it's pretty safe. And even though we're going to talk about the street fight that Mark Davis and Will Ospreay have here in a little bit, Mark Davis again is another one of those guys that feels fairly safe, and because of his history with Will Ospreay, they probably feel very comfortable wrestling each other and working together. So yeah, I mean, it's a lot of work for a guy right before a big match like it's going to be against Omega, but hey, it keeps you sharp too, I guess. Keeps your ring rust off, all those kinds of things. So as long as you don't get hurt, it looks great. So I thought this was a solid episode of Collision for a live episode for right after a Dynamite. It was definitely better than the last one we reviewed. I don't think that was the last episode of Collision, but the last episode of Collision that we reviewed. So I thought this was very good. The only real issues that I had with this show was, and they're very nitpicky, was why Tommaso Ciampa is on twice. Thought that was a little odd. And just that as much as I enjoyed the match and it makes sense storyline wise, Daniel Garcia versus Will Ospreay in the main event just leaves me a hair flat. Like, I love Will Ospreay and I love watching Will wrestle and he can make anything look good, but it just feels like it's Daniel Garcia is not the right opponent. So those two little things, but beyond that, again, being super nitpicky for a Collision, I thought it was solid. There was a squash match, a couple squash matches, which is what it is. Tommaso Ciampa with Nick Camarado and then Chris Statlander had the squash match. I'm going to give it a B. I think it was a solid show. I mean, I think it was a solid B show. So, what do you think of the post-match main event stuff? And then what grade are you giving Collision?
So the post-match stuff, I love, where it's like, that is kind of the story here right now, where it's like, hey, you abandoned the Death Riders for no real reason. And I say no real reason because they told you to take out, okay, you can't unalive people, but seeing how Omega turned on you after you trusted him, can we say that the Death Riders were wrong? Maybe you I don't know, the whole school of Maybe you talk them down from unalive to maybe just beating them up. Maybe that. But anyway, so I do love this being a squash match. We try to put Collision and Dynamite on the same level, but sometimes we just gotta be realistic with each other. Like, yeah, they're not on the same level. I say that, so like for Collision, this was a good main event where we get Ospreay and Daniel Garcia. We get Ospreay. We also Daniel Garcia. And so post match was cool. Adding weapons is like, sir. We already butt tight about you doing a match before all in. Now you're trying to make a street fight. For what? For who? For why? Cause you asked for it? Probably. That's probably the reason why. So, like, yeah. So it really is like, sir, can you please pump the brakes? We're talking about the collision right after I give my grade. But I'm like, after Dynamite, we need you to take a day. We need to take a week off. That's what we need for y'all to do. Please, thank you, please. But overall, I have no qualms. Just a couple of stuff. Squash match between Statlander. I don't like Athena hyping up anybody. That's my opinion. Triple and honestly, for me, because we started with the Mercy Machine Guns, I would like for them to end with the Mercy Machine Guns. Like so, like again, that's nitpicky. Where it's just like maybe just end it off with the match. Like that segment being in the middle of the show was kind of like, no offense to the other two matches that followed, but it is like, oh, we're still going with Collision. Interesting. That's what it feels like. But so I one level down, B minus.
All right. So I gave Collision a B. Miss Anika gave Collision a B minus. Those are our grades for the Thursday episode, July 30th of AEW Collision. That brings us to the end of our AEW Collision review, which means we're going to switch over to, and since I can't type properly, you'll see in the note, I put AEW, I guess there's an A, or there's an S in Grand instead of an A. Technically, Grand is Grand, not GRSND, but it's close enough for all intents and purposes. So we will switch over to our, I guess technically Dynamite. You know, when I go to AEW, because I go to AEW before we do this show to pull up the results, and it wasn't even under the Dynamite results. It's listed as its own separate show. So technically, maybe they're not calling it a Dynamite special. Yeah, normally it shows Dynamite and then it'll say like Beach Break Dynamite, but this says this is not even considered technically a Dynamite show according to AEW's website.
Yeah.
So nonetheless.
Y'all be doing the most sometimes, I promise you. Like, it's Dynamite. It's Dynamite. People are not paying extra to watch this. It's a Dynamite. It's supposed to be Dynamite, but it's a Dynamite. Either way. Hi, I'm Dika. It's now time to switch to Dynamite. Grand Slam. Look, if you have to say something, I would have seen Jack. I already got glasses on. Well, you pointed out that was an S, not an A. But Grand Slam Mexico, August the 7th?
August the 3rd. I mean, August the 6th. No, 5th.
The 5th? August 5th. But this is special. This is a special Dynamite. This was 3 hours. I really want to know who said.
Every minute is 3 hours.
Who said this was a good idea? I've everything to take from WWE. Do not take that. We do not like me and Sammy are so happy that it went from the SmackDown went from 3 hours to 2 hours. So please do not mimic that from WWE. 2 hours and 30 would have been fine. And then, but I guess we're going to see if 3 hours was necessary. It is WWE, so let's kick it off with a bang, with a house party match. And the Kings of House Party are here, which is AKA the Young Bucks, teaming up with Cope and Christian versus the Death Riders, specifically Dan Garcia, Moxley, Wheeler Yuta, and the Bastard Tat. Again, like I said, this is a house party match, and as such, this was full of fun. Really, really much fun. Highlights, there was one time where they're giving Moxley the business of superseding him. It was one time where he stayed on the rope for me. He was standing on the ropes too long to wait for the Young Bucks. And I'm like, sir, you don't move. You know what's coming. I'm going to get behind. I was thinking ring rope. Another spot of mine. What's her name? Marina was helping with the Death Rider, but Christian yanked her off, and it was a stare down. And of course, Marina, being who she is, going to smash the crap out of Christian. And Christian, being who he is, going to straight up kick her in the knees. Throughout all of the female bodyguards, aka special enforcers, the biggest was China Rhea Ripley for a Judgment Day. I don't think they ever had to suffer a dude just basically kicking them in the girdle part. So, Marina, you're a real one. You're a real one for that. And we appreciate your service. We appreciate your service. But all in all, kind of surprised. Yeah, I'll say kind of surprised. Moxley gets the 1-2-3 over Matt Jackson. Death Riders beat the tag team champions of Colt and Christian and their number contenders, the Young Bucks. Again, this was a very much so fun party, but I did not think that was. I don't know. So post match, you can kind of see Young Bucks and Christian and Colt like, what's going on? What happened? Why did you blah blah blah? So I appreciate them showing dissension where it's not going to be a full on babyface to babyface back. So in that aspect, it did do its job. My mind went to, oh shoot, the Death Riders won. Are we at this is where my mind went to. Are we adding to the match after All In? Are they going to be the next general contenders? I'm not sure how I feel about either one of those. But this was a great match overall. I was very entertained. Your thoughts?
I mean, I thought it was good. It was a good opening start. You know, multi-man matches are always a little crazy. I'm always a little critical because you miss stuff sometimes, but I thought they did a good job of catching most of it. A lot of it stayed in the ring, which was a lot better. So they're not just all over the place. Moxley and them getting the win is probably good because they took the loss on Collision on Thursday before to Bang Bang Gang. You don't want you can't have John Moxley taking too many losses, whether he's the one getting pinned or not.
Yeah.
And you can't have the team that he's the head of and the guys that he's training taking losses all the time either. So them getting the win is fine. And Moxley, getting kind of a steal victory is what it is. That's classic kind of Moxley and Death Riders. So yeah, I mean, the little post match, what looked like maybe a slight rub, although ultimately Cope did shake hands with the Bucks, which I would have preferred he didn't. But yeah, I mean, I can see him trying to build a slight little bit of hype to try to make this match, a little bit less, just friend versus friend. Don't get me wrong, friend versus friend is going to be very good, and nobody likes Christian, so there's always that heat, right? So, and that's fine. But yeah, I mean, the match itself is going to be solid at All In because all four men can really wrestle, and Christian and Cope can still go. So I know, but yes, there's not a whole lot to be. There's not a lot of storyline to be excited about. Like the match is going to be fine, and on paper it's going to be good, but there isn't. I mean, you have two baby faces wrestling each other for the titles, which is fine. I mean, but there isn't a whole lot for fans that like a good storyline to grab onto in this situation.
All well said. All right, just in case you weren't here last week to see the whole face-to-face with Omega and Ospreay, here is a recap of what happened between Redemption and Laughing Dynamite. Basically, Death Riders trying to get Ospreay to turn on Omega. Ospreay actually turned on the Death Riders when Omega came to. He took hands, but he actually turned on Ospreay. That's for Dynamite, Omega, and Ospreay. What's the word? They said their whole they explained themselves basically, where Omega was like, listen, when the light was fading from my eyes. Oh Jesus, come on, sorry, falling food. We're good. Yeah, when they're about to take me out, I could hear. I was waiting for you, and when I finally came to, I saw what took you so long. You were holding my belt And so I'm like, so did you have anything to do with it? I was like, no, they didn't have anything to do with it. And then basically he's like, you have all people should realize why I turned on you. So this ain't some basically don't think because these brands that I don't want to keep that my belt. And so he kept slapping the crap out of Osprey. I probably took the crap back out of him. And he's like, no one's going to tell me to pull the trigger. When it's up and all in, I'm finally going to pull the trigger on you, mate. Blah, 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 blah. Something about hockey in the penalty box and all that. And all that good stuff that I don't understand. I don't play soccer or hockey or whatever, forget a penalty box comparison. But it was all hyped up. And at one point, it's going to be Osprey versus Kenny Omega. We couldn't do a review of last week's Dynamite because we liked it. Do you want to say anything about this whole recap or the face-to-face between Osprey and Omega last week?
The only thing that I want to say is that I don't like the recap. Like, I understand you want to keep it live, but you can do something live. Like, this is Dynamite or AEW Grand Slam Mexico. Just showing us a clip from what happened on last week's Dynamite is anticlimactic. Like, I mean, I get it, and it's fine. And if you didn't see it, now you've seen it. But you could have given us something live too. I mean, you could have given something. Even the two of them not in remote locations, just doing promos, whatever it is. You don't necessarily have to have them together again. We don't need another fight, but just something live in the moment as opposed to just a rehash of what happened last week. So that's my only contention. That being said, what happened last week I thought was great. I like most of it. I think hyping up the match because really, again, we're really sitting in another face versus face situation. So what do you know? I mean, you got to do something to try to put some juice on it other than just the two best wrestlers in the company going for the title. I mean, Max would argue that he's the best wrestler in the company, but two of the best wrestlers in the company going for the title, which I've always said is enough also. You also don't always need to be, whatever, slept with your best friend's wife and all those kinds of things, right? So, but it does add a little juice. At minimum, you have to have, I still feel like you have to have some sort of tension. If you're not going to have a definitive heel versus face, you got to have some sort of tension amongst the heel versus heels or the faces versus faces when they're facing each other. And so, they have a little bit of heat, which is fine. I mean, I'm here for it. It does help it a little bit. So, again, it's another one of those situations. All In has some matches that are very interesting. It's got the same feel to me as the Bucks versus Cope and Cage, which is like, okay, it's going to be a very good match. In fact, it's probably going to be, 7 stars of excellence, knowing Omega and Osprey. But the meat on the bone isn't there for the emotional ride of it because there's not really tension between the two, and whenever there is, it's and not that all tension in wrestling isn't manufactured, but like with MJF, he does it in a way that you always want him to lose. Like there isn't that feeling here. Like you'll be happy with either Kenny winning or Osprey winning. Like those can make you feel good. If you're a Kenny Omega guy, great. He gets a great win over Osprey. Or Osprey guy, he wins in Wembley and he gets the first chance with the AEW World Championship. Like there's no bad feelings in this. If it's MJF and then MJF wins, everyone walks away going, you, right? And you want to see him again and you want that. There's none of that. So, and it takes a little bit away from it, but again, still going to be a good match. So I do worry a little about the All In card though, because we do have now two of these matches that don't really have that feel to them. So
no, yeah, I totally agree. That's why last week was definitely necessary. I love when last time Kenny Omega was champion, his hair was purple and he was I think a cocaine addict, basically. So that's not only version of championship Kenny Omega, so I call him Cocaine Kenny. So I like that Cocaine Kenny kind of came back to face with Osprey, and hopefully we'll keep that same energy until All In. Emotional Cocaine Kenny.
Yeah.
All right. So next up, we have our triple threat match to determine the first entrance into the Casino Gauntlet at All In. And so we have Commander, we have Ciampa being a troll because we are in Mexico, so one of y'all has to do it. Flag draped over his arms. I'm like, sir, you're not even a draped over kind of guy. So you're just being a troll for no reason. And Andrade El Eagle in Mexico City. I love that. This was a great triple threat match. I'm like, you have these three in the ring. Like, go figure. It's gonna be so pretty good. I love that Andrade was not like, even though he's a face, he still wrestled a little bit like him. A little bit. When I say that, it starts off with Ciampa and Commander, and Ciampa's defeated Carl Commander, and Andrade's like, no, hey, he's my opponent too, so hey, have at it. So I love that part. I love that part of Andrade right now. And listen, I'm not sure. I know it was in Arsenal, but Ciampa just power pressing the crap out of people. It's like, how do you take that? And it don't hurt. Like all in all, like, bruh, you have to go that hard. For me, period. But Andrade wins, and he's the first person to go into the Casino Gauntlet. You know, the rule is the first person to go in has most chances of winning the match. Blase. Do we really believe that? No. But it is what it is. So how do you think about the match?
Thing for me, because again, I talk a lot about levels here, and I would definitely put Andrade and Ciampa on the same level, but Commander feels a little below them. And so he feels kind of a little, one of these things isn't quite like the other. But that being said, Commander is fun to watch. So any match he's in, he brings life to the match because of his spectacular moves and spots. And, I think the money here is obviously on Ciampa versus Andrade down the road in a singles match. And this preserves that because you got the third person in the meantime. So you don't actually have that quite yet. Andrade is amazing, as always. Always happy to see Andrade wrestle. And yeah, I mean, Ciampa looks great, and Commander had some good spots. I'm not surprised that Andrade got the win. It wouldn't surprise me, even though he has the national championship, it still wouldn't surprise me to see him win the gauntlet. So I think he's definitely one of the favorites to win the gauntlet, especially going in at the number one position. So yeah, I mean, the future looks bright for Andrade, and I'm here for it. And Ciampa versus Andrade, I'm definitely here for. So I enjoyed this.
Most definitely. Hopefully that'll be down the road. So Andrade's in the ring with his North American Championship. He gets the mic. A lot of Spanish, but you're in Mexico City, so why the freak not? And I love it. And he's basically saying, who said I can't be a world heavyweight champion? Who said I can't win the gauntlet? Spanish mix up in there. He ends it with, how you know? And here comes MJF is that. He had a word for a minute that he didn't want to go to England for all in, but he's MJF. Come on now. And he attacks Andrade from behind. A brutal assault. Takes back his diamond ring, boo. And of course he's wearing a white beater shirt because it's blood, so you have to see the blood I distributed from Andrade's face. And here comes full on MJF, all hyped up. Well, listen here. About 3 weeks ago, I was screwed out of my main event match at Ripley. I had the best belt machine pin. It was for Ospreay. I would have been in a main event spot. It was mine. So here's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna go to all in. I'm gonna win my number 2 spot. I'm gonna do what I always do, is cash in that contract, and it's World Heavyweight Champion again. And the whole lot of bass just pop out of his neck. It was mine. It was mine. It's like, I'm happy you're going to be at All In. Honestly, I don't like certain people. Needed is a strong word, but sometimes it's accurate. I'm like All In about MJF. I would have been very much so like, oh, like it's AEW, right? So they have enough star power where it could work, but this is one of their biggest pay-per-views. Like, do you want it to work, or do you want this pay-per-view to thrive? MJF, it thrives. I am here for him being in a gauntlet match. I'm hoping, so because him and Andrade are 1 and 2, so that's probably going to be one of the main stories of that gauntlet match. But I'm hoping that because of the gauntlet match, they're going to bring someone out that maybe from MJF past the conference. That's for me. That's the specialty of the gauntlet match, where the big surprise comeback or big surprise debut come into play. So I'm hoping we get one of those. Johns are good to go. But yeah, I am happy that MJF is in the building.
Yeah, I enjoyed this. I mean, what?
Your thoughts. Go.
Oh yeah, I was gonna say I enjoyed this. Classic MJF. I thought this was a good spot. I thought he did all the right things. All the stuff about paper champions and that the real belt is the Triple B and all that stuff. I'm here for all that. I guess the only one issue that I have is just that everyone has to earn their spot, but he gets to say, I'm going into the gauntlet and I'm going to be number 2. Like, you don't have to wrestle somebody to get that number 2 spot. I guess you're MJF, so you can do what you want to do. But Andrade had to wrestle someone to get the number 1 spot. Like, most people have to wrestle to get either the 1 or 2 spot. So, it is what it is, but I guess you're MJF. So, Andrade versus MJF in the gauntlet should be amazing to start it off. It probably lowers Andrade's chances of coming out of the gauntlet, the winner. But nonetheless, we'll see what ends up happening. I mean, MJF is probably needs it more because Andrade has that national championship at the moment. But we'll see who else is in the gauntlet. So we don't even know who's all in it yet. So we'll see who's all in the gauntlet match. And I thought this was good though. MJF is in his bag here. Like you said, the wife beater, so you can show the blood, all those things. Love the stuff with Triple B and love him standing with the Triple B at the end. So classic MJF. This is really what you need, right? This is the heat that you need from someone to really feel the juice of a match, right? Like, even though it's a gauntlet match, the match, the beginning between MJF and Andrade has a lot of juice at the moment. And they're both heels, essentially. I mean, I guess Andrade's basically a face, but like you said, he wrestles very heelish still. And even, his attitude is still pretty heelish. I mean, so... Yeah, I thought it was quality. I enjoyed it.
Yeah, it's heelish, but it's not that heel heat that we need. No pun intended. The only thing is, because he's not a total babyface in actions, I do need him next week to beat the crap out of MJF. Like, that's the only thing that gave me problem. Like, hold on, dang, you just walked the floor with Andrade. I need Andrade to come back and we'll be behind next week, like, just as hard. That's just me. It was like come on now. Like, dang, you can't, like you said, that foregone conclusion is the only thing. Like, let's not do a foregone conclusion of what's going to happen. So I would like it if Andrade just crap out of the DF next week. All right, and then next we have again. These were significant sections of last week's Dynamite, so I get why we're re-showing them. But it is like, if this is the reason why you had to watch 3 hours of AEW, you could have kept it. So I was just say a recap of Willow and Mercedes last week when Mercedes Willow was having her celebration as new AEW World Women's Champion. But Mercedes came in because she's a party pooper, and she's like, sign the contract. Like, let's make it official now. I'm tired of you getting in my way because of all my AEW history, I always had to come across you. And so, like just like I said, if you missed it last week, here's a recap of it, the little face to face after the little celebration. Any thoughts on the witchcraft?
The same thoughts that I had before. I mean, I guess at least this is before the match that has Willow in it. So Willow and Mercedes Moné. So I guess it's a little bit more than the other one, but yeah, I mean it's a little odd, just in general. Either you watch and or you don't. I mean, if you don't watch, then I guess you don't get to know. Like you can hear talk about it, but we shouldn't be seeing it again like that. Just I don't know, especially not on Dynamite. If you want to show it on Collision, that's fine. So that you string the shows together, that's a better show to show those things on because you're not doing as much. But you only have so much time on Dynamite or whatever we're calling this AEW Grand Slam Mexico. Although 3 hours did feel like 5 hours. It still seemed a little odd to be recapping this way.
Yeah. Those agree. Like you said, at least with this, it's like a promo of the match to come, unlike the Ospreay versus Omega recap.
Right. Which makes it a little bit better. It gives it a little more context.
Yes, a little bit better. So next we have Willow and the Brawling Birds versus Mercedes Moné and Divine Dominion. This is a very good match. I was very much so entertained by this. I was kind of shocked. Okay, so I say shocked because usually when people have a match for a pay-per-view, if they do a match beforehand, there's little contact in that match. Is what I'm saying. So they'll just like they'll interrupt Mercedes and Willow just gonna go like bounce about like dang, so we just gonna try to act like a little bit wait for it to come. Like we've already beat each other like 3 times. We don't need no special restrictions or whatever, which I guess is fair. Because again, it wasn't official yet, but we're a Brawling Birds or Divine Dominion is happening, right? So like in this match, who doesn't touch who? Because we're all fighting each other at All In. But as the Women's World Heavyweight Championship match concerned, that was my thing. Like, okay, so I guess we just don't care no more, which is totally fine. I love all of these 3 women. Mercedes and Willow, though, there's some special magic where it's just like when Mercedes came in, right, as a 4-horsewoman, and whatever you want to say about her versus Charlotte, they always had chemistry when they walked up, where it's just like, yeah, y'all are meant to be each other's rivals, depending, like, whoever lost and won, another conversation, but y'all are meant to do this together. I don't think most certain people are like, who when she go to AEW, will she recapture it again? He definitely recaptured it with Willow. And I love them going at it every time they go at it. The pounce will always get me. I'm out of freaking nowhere. The Brawling Birds versus Divine Dominion was a good time as well, where it's just like it's both Hoff women beating the crap out of each other, which is surprise, so good. I like this because Willow, being the World Heavyweight Champion, gets the freaking 1, 2, 3 flip up on Mercedes. And it's like, yeah. Why? Because she is champion. So that should happen. Okay. I say that because look at comparison. Chelsea Green won and she's champion on WWE. Fast forward to SmackDown, they got him pinning her in a tag match. And it's like, she just won the belt. What the frick, bro? So I'm very happy. So yes, Willow pinning her opponent. Yes, that's what's supposed to happen. And it's not right before All In. So it's no omen of who's gonna win at All In, because we got like 2 more weeks to go. And so it's totally fine for her to pin them. I love the shocked look on Mercedes' face, where it's like, did that really just happen? Yes, they did. It wasn't the first time to beat you, but yes, it happened. I love the whole Divine Dominion and Mercedes still holding their belts up like I need some. Bruh, y'all still lost. Y'all still lost. Hold the belts if you want to. You lost. You might lose the belt sooner or later. But this was a very good match. Your thoughts?
I enjoyed this a lot. I thought this was very good. And all the people in the match have something going on at All In, so that's good. I mean, I like that the Brawling Birds are going to take on Divine Dominion, and then you have Mercedes Moné versus Willow. So, and yeah, I mean, Willow should. I mean, we can debate whether it makes Mercedes look any weaker or not taking the pin before All In, but what I don't think is debatable is that the women's world champion should be going into that match looking extremely strong. Now, could she have gotten away with pinning maybe Megan Bain or Lena Cross as opposed to Mercedes Monet? Maybe. But Mercedes is Mercedes, and we all know how good she is, and her taking a loss in a 6-man or a 6-woman match is not the same as getting beat in a one-on-one match. It's not the same environment. It's not a championship title match. All the things that are going to be different when she faces Mercedes Moné one-on-one. So, yeah, I mean, the women's world champion should be getting the win, should be looking very strong. So I'm here for that. And the Brawling Birds beating Divine Dominion is perfect at the moment because I think that's what's going to happen at All In. I mean, it's time for Divine Dominion to probably drop those belts, and the Brawling Birds are the only people that they put in a position to really take the belts. So if it's not
Yeah.
them, who is it? I mean, if the Brawling Birds don't win at All In, then what do we do with Divine Dominion? I mean, there's no other team in the wings that's been done. They've beat everybody else. I mean, what do you do? I mean, so it seems like that's really the only option at this point. So, no, I enjoyed all of this. I thought this was all very good, and yeah, I'm all in for Willow versus Mercedes. I think it's gonna be fun, and Mercedes is great. Like, just her. The reason that Mercedes is so good is not just her promo work, is not just her athletic ability in the ring. It's her facial expressions, it's her body expressions, it's
Yes.
everything she does in the ring that adds all those little nuances to the match to make it so much better. And that's what separates, and the more that I watch, the more that I think about why some people get over and some people don't, and why some people get more, it's probably those little things. If you look at the ones that really, really get over, they do all those little things so well. They add all those the facial expressions in the right moment, the body language in the right moment, making it look as authentic as it possibly can at all times. All those little things go into it, and that's why those people become the main event people. And the more I see, not the more I watch, because I've been watching wrestling for a long time, but the more I watch it with a critical eye and an analytical eye to why some people get over and some people don't. I think you start to see that the ones that get over are the ones that do those little things, and that's what makes Mercedes Moné so amazing. That facial expression that you're talking about, that shocked look, all those little things that a lot of other people don't do all the time, or don't do well, or don't do at the right
Hmm.
time, or So yeah, I mean, I'm here for all of it, and Mercedes is amazing. So I, that being said, I really want Willow to win it All In. Like, I as much as Mercedes is Mercedes, and she's, a Hall of Famer and a legend and all those things, it feels like this is Willow's time, and she needs a big win against Mercedes Moné. I think that's going to go a long way to solidify the feeling that she really deserves to be holding that title, right? Like, because even though even though now she's the first Grand Slam women's winner, which is amazing because we always talk about how we've always wanted more for Willow. And slowly along the
Yes.
way, she's had all these spots, but it has felt slow, and it hasn't necessarily felt like that real big, super tremendous moment yet. And so I feel like a win against Mercedes at All In, which is essentially one of the big four pay per views, it would go a long way to really raising her and making her feel like she really deserves to be in that main event picture and the champion. So,
And reigns are important. Like her first TBS reign was basically a transitional championship to get to Mercedes. So hopefully, I hope they bring that up and they're like history won't repeat itself and be like, no, this time I'm holding on to this belt, and hopefully this time she does hold on to it. Like, please let her hold on to it this time.
Absolutely.
All right. Okay. And so next up, here is probably the match of the night. We have Speedball Mike Bailey versus what's his name? Brain fart, don't tell me. Say my full name, I will not. The Proto Star Cal Fletcher for the International Championship. This was again all that talk I was saying yes about what you call it on Collision about it being predictable. It is predictable, but you're also predictable. You won't have a good behind time watching this freaking match. So, and this was a very good behind time. I'm very glad that Speedball got this shine, even though he lost to Fletcher. This was a good freaking old time. Like, surprise, surprise, how Fletcher had a good TV match. At the end of the year, it's gonna be really hard. It's definitely between him versus Darby Allin, who has the best TV match. Darby versus Ciampa is still there, but they need was so fucking good. Case Raw. A couple of highlights. Fletcher, Speedball did a Hurricane Rada to Kyle Fletcher on the ring apron. Basically, the knees to the back from Speedball to Kyle Fletcher, that near fall. You know, if you're into it, almost had you. It didn't have me, but it almost had you. And then it ends with Fletcher doing a freaking brainbuster on a turnbuckle. How do you perfect that? I have no clue. But dang, it looks gnarly, but you know he's good. 1, 2, 3. Cal Fletcher retains, but this was superb of a freaking match. Welcome back, Cal Fletcher. Keep it going. Your thoughts on the match?
I mean, in AEW, and it's probably debatable, but in AEW, I think this is Speedball's best match. I thought Speedball looked the best he's looked in AEW so far.
Mm-hmm.
He was X Division champion in TNA for a while, and I didn't get to see a lot of that, so I can't comment on some of that.
Yeah.
But I think this is the best match I've seen him wrestle in AEW. I thought this was insanely good. Even though I never doubted Kyle Fletcher was getting the win, there were a lot of moments where it was like, are they really going to let Mike Bailey maybe get a win here? And all respect to Kyle Fletcher, because that perfect weapon move, that 450 with the knees that Speedball does, like, there's nothing to protect you from that. And even when you're on the mat, Kyle was essentially standing and bent. I mean, he took those knees flush in his back and ribs. I mean, that could not have felt good. So then to kick out of that and turn around with the brainbuster on the turnbuckle, which is an insane move. Now this match had everything in it. I thought Speedball looked amazing. I understand why, if you're looking at Speedball and Kevin Knight and you're making a pick, you went with Kevin Knight. He's got more personality. He's got a little bit more swagger, all those things. But man, Speedball is such an insanely good wrestler. I'm not saying he's better than Kevin Knight. I'm just saying Speedball is an insanely good wrestler. And when you crank the volume up, or the level up to 4 or 5, him and Kyle Fletcher had a lot of good chemistry. And there was, by the time that match was over, like you said, I think it was by far the best match of the night. And this was a very solid show with a lot of good matches. So to say that it was the best match of the night is putting a lot on it. I really enjoyed this. I thought this was very good.
Most definitely. And so Don Callis is right there by Cal Fletcher as they're in the ring celebrating. Cal Fletcher holds up the International Championship, and the coin drops. It was like, right. And Okada comes out in his beautiful black robe, and just a little bit of a stare down, okay? And then we get a face-to-face with Kyle Fletcher and Okada. As of right now, Kyle Fletcher didn't have any plans for All In. I think we all were kind of hoping that Triple Threat, Okada, Takeshita, and Fletcher at All In. Fletcher, sorry, Takesha was not on the show. Boo. But what would you rather have first? Would you rather have Okada and Fletcher and then a triple threat match, or do you want a triple threat match and then just Okada versus Fletcher?
That's a good question. I mean, I definitely want Takeshita involved. So if the only way he can be involved is as a triple threat, then that's fine. I mean, then let's
Yeah.
get him in there as a triple threat. I mean, it's better than not having Takeshita involved at all. So
Yes.
I'm definitely here for that. I mean, I want to see. We've already seen, obviously, Takeshita versus Kyle Fletcher. So the next one is Okada versus Fletcher, really. But a triple threat would be a lot of fun. I just want to see Takeshita more. So a triple threat would be fun. But
Yes.
yeah, I mean, Okada versus Kyle Fletcher. Again, I mean, we have the two heel issue. We have both from the same family issue. So it is what it is, and we've been critical. I've been mentioning that this is something that AEW does a lot of, and they're doing it more and more. So it's fine. Ultimately, is the result of a Kyle Fletcher Okada feud going to be the same as it was with Fletcher and Takeshita? Is one of them going to end up leaving the Don Callis family? Or do they just wrestle and resolve it and they stay together? I mean, it'll be interesting to see how that plays out, because you don't want to do the same thing over and over again, right? So having
Yes.
having Okada and Fletcher have a feud and one of them leave seems like just duplicating, copycatting what happened with Takeshita. So you got to do it in a different way. Things have to stay fresh and original. So, as much as it makes sense, because you have all of these guys that are a bunch of jerks in one faction, that they butt
Yes.
heads, it's already wearing a little thin on me to have the Don Callis family always
Mm,
at each other's throats. Like, it's always
yeah.
irritated with each other. Like, I don't necessarily want them to just be in unison all the time and be unstoppable, but it's like, this is already, you've done this before. You already had this with Kevin Knight. Kevin Knight and Kyle Fletcher almost got into it. And Takeshita and Kyle Fletcher got into it. Now Kyle Fletcher and Okada. Like, I mean, the common denominator is Kyle Fletcher. But that being said, like, you don't just need dissension all the time. Like, it does get a little old. So we'll see.
We'll see. I definitely agree with you. We might need to. We definitely need to come to Jesus meeting in downtown City. All right.
No doubt.
So next, yes. So next up, it was so. If you don't know the card, that did throw you off the face to face. But Okada was out here to do a match. It's him, Hachicero, and Kevin Knight versus Mystico. Um, Chris Jericho and Darby Allin. Now look. I get how you feel about Mystico's theme song, and that you don't think it is a wrestling theme song. But it's like, I don't know. I do like them singing it. Maybe because I'm a Selena fan. Okay, Selena fans are straight. I love the Selena movie, and so it gave me Selena vibes. So that's why I don't hate it. That's why I like it. And I will say, them being back to back after that, Chris Jericho comes on, and I gotta sing Judas. I'm like, all right, y'all could have given us a break, bro. Like everybody gotta sing this doggone much. We gotta come to the freaking main, to the freaking ring. That was a lot. I will give you that. That was a lot. The Navi just like, listen, I'm coming. I'm Darby Allin. I just want to wrestle, and wrestle he did. This was a very good match, very much so fun. Once again, I guess Chris Jericho was trying to do something different with his shorts instead of pants. This is a personal preference, but after a certain age, and you switch up your no shorts. Shorts are very hard to come off of as a wrestler. I'm trying to think of who has shorts on that actually looks good. John Cena, but did it look good? Or we just accepted it because of thugonomics? I think we just accepted it because of thugonomics. But everyone else, short, no, and they have tassels on them. So it's like, No, no. Put your pants back on, sir. I'm just saying. But yeah, no, this is a very much so fun match. It's crazy because uh, Darby, Mystico, and Chris Jericho got the pin. I don't like my Okada losing this much. This is so it was Kyle Fletcher and him in a tag match and he lost there, and now it's him, Cesaro, and Kevin Knight and he lost again, and it's just like, okay, look, I get it's a multi-man match, but still, this is still Okada. This is still the pride of New Japan. Like I need y'all to let's get off this is a little bit. That's just my opinion. But it was a good match overall. I get it because we're in Mexico, so Mexico shouldn't lose. But still, they don't put Okada in the match. That's just my 2 cents. But it was a good match. Your thoughts?
The show was too long, and this was 20 minutes of too long a show. So this could have been cut, in my opinion. I didn't need any of this.
Yeah.
I don't need Jericho in shorts. I don't need Jericho trying to pretend like he's still 30. I really don't need Jericho at the end still flexing with his old man boobies down to his navel. Put a shirt on, put some pants on, and quit being on my television. I don't need face Jericho with the good guys facing it up and getting crowd adulation. I really don't need that because we all know he's a piece of shit, both in real life and in wrestling. So all that stuff. And yeah, I mean, I don't. Again, you're right. In Mexico, it's a little bit different for Mystico's song. I think it still brings the party down a little bit. It's not the right tempo song for wrestling. But that being said, the ending I thought was terrible. First of all, Okada has the best drop kick. Well, okay, I don't think this, but a lot of people think Okada has the best drop kick in wrestling. And all Chris Jericho had to do was kind of pat his hands a little bit, and then Okada flopped into the walls of Jericho, and then miraculously, whatchamacallit got the Mystico, got the headlock on Hechicero, and all 3 submissions. I hate it when you do choreographed moves like that, when all 3 guys have the submission at the same time. It looks so cheesy and so choreographed. I understand that everybody knows it's fake, but the goal is to try to make it look real. There's no part of that that looks real. I'm sorry, there just isn't. So, in that regard, I thought this whole match was kind of dumb. Okada's fine. My feelings on Okada. So I like Mystico. But as a general rule, they could have left this match off and made the show 2.5 hours. So, yeah.
I won't put all that. Maybe just make it Mystico versus Kevin Knight. I think that would have been just a solid match by itself. Do we need Darby and yeah, no, maybe Mystico and Kevin Knight and maybe a little interference, maybe that. But I do understand the gripe. All right, and then next we have Chris Statlander versus CMLL half-owned Persephone. And I love this. Go back real quick. I love Mercedes' entrance where she had her Aztec gear on going down I love the whole setup of Grand Slam where you have not pyramid per se, but the stage it looks almost pyramid-esque and the steps down to get to the ring. I love that. I love Mercedes in her Latin I don't know what adornment when she entered, and I love Persephone in her black and white robe before coming down the stairs. She's like, baby, this is my town. I run this, so I appreciate that little bit of a nod, like let's go. And so, surprise, this really could have been okay. Sorry, I'll use your words, Nika. Tell the viewers. I was going to say this could have been on a pay-per-view, but Grand Prix Mexico, the next best thing. This is definitely. I say that because Persephone, she is the next star. She is not the flavor of the month. She has whatever it is to become a big wrestler in a big company. And I love it's her versus Statlander because they're both powerhouses. So it's them just going bout for bout. That's why I'm like, oh, this should have been on a pay-per-view because you could have it really is that ground and pound that I love with women, where it's just like, it's not all aerial. We gonna beat each other up, which I very much so appreciate. Thunder Rosa was in the crowd. Not sure how I feel about that because like you don't want to pin a Latina with a Latina, but it's like both of them couldn't get matches. Like they both couldn't be on the show. But I digress. But Persephone did get the win. I do realize why. But like again, just want more for our Statlander. That's the only thing about that. Not that we don't like Persephone, we just want more for our Statlander. That's all we want. But this was a very much so good match. Your thoughts?
Yeah, no, I enjoyed this. I mean, I think Persephone, like you said, has a very bright future. She's a very strong wrestler, and CMLL partnering with AEW is going to get her time in America on American TV. Her versus Statlander, they have good chemistry. Here for all that. I thought the stuff with Thunder Rosa was good. Yeah, I mean, in theory, you don't necessarily want to have to, have people of the same race always facing off against each other or all those kinds of things. But it is Mexico. And so in theory, most of the people in Mexico are Mexican. So like you can't, if you have beef with someone, chances are good, it's going to be another Latino, right? Or Latina. So in that regard, it is what it is. And Persephone is definitely a heel and Thunder Rosa has always been a face. So I get that. Sheeta coming down to help Persephone, I think helps keep Statlander looking very strong. I don't necessarily understand why Sheeta has chosen to help Persephone, but I guess it's because they're both heels. And I guess Sheeta still has beef with Statlander for some reason. I guess it is what it is. She's got a belt. I mean, why do what do you so yeah, I thought that was weird, but Persephone getting the win, here for it, and I thought this was a good match. Still made Statlander look strong, and Persephone's future is bright. So I enjoyed all.
Yeah, no, totally agree. Totally agree with you. So like the whole not to say gauntlet, but the match to determine the next TBS champion, that kind of established Statlander, no, not Statlander, Sheeta and Persephone's relationship, if you want to call it that.
Yeah.
I don't hate it. I don't hate it, but I do need to see a future plan with it. More so like you said, I know like it is kind of weird for them to continue the Statlander and Sheeta beef. If it was like if one of these people, if it was for the TBS belt, okay, but it's not. Like Maya World has the belt, so that's why it feels a little off. But it's just like,
That's right.
Why
Sheeta still has the belt? I forgot Maya World beat her for the belt. Yeah, that was a total slip up. Yeah, I mean she's not even the champion.
Right? So it's like, sure, if y'all want to keep this going, Thunder Rosa and Statlander as a tag team real quick. I won't hate that, but it is like, some stuff, just know when to let it go. I'm not going to say let it go now, Sheeta versus Statlander, but it's getting there. I'll just say that. It is kind of getting there, where it's like, I'm not sure if I still want to see this. All right, and then we have a recap one more time. Like, just in case you weren't watching Dynamite, you're not a fan. Of Mark Davis challenging Ospreay, and then go to Collision where Mark Davis attacked Ospreay, and that's how we're going to have a street fight later on. Just to solidify. Okay, so we talk about the recap in this already been a long behind show. It feels like they're using it to hype up the main event, which is okay, fine, cool, but it is like, can we couldn't have been better? Like we really couldn't do a live interview with Renee Paquette or something. So like, not to say it's lazy, but
like you did with the Willow spot. At least the Willow spot, it was right before the match, so at least it made something before the match. Before the match, like I don't. It's out of spot here. Like, if you're gonna do it in connection with the spot you're about to have for that match. Don't do it 20 minutes before. Like, that makes no sense.
More so, the next match coming up is for a championship. So that felt disrespectful. That they kind of feel disrespectful of hey, hey, a championship match is coming up, but the main event, no stakes. Just hey, let's recap that real quick. Yeah, the placement of it could have been better. But like I said, here comes one of our last championship match today, or yeah, whatever. I'm just saying words. But the trio trio, the good, the bad, the ugly, Brody King and Hangman Adam Page, and this was very much so tasty. I'm trying to think. It's still, even if they haven't done it before, it feels like Brodito and Heyman have tagged together in the past. I'm not sure. Okay, don't quote me. I'm not sure when, but it feels like this is the first time they teamed up, and it goes to show of how well they work together in this match. I love Gates of Agony, which is so it was very much so crazy that Hangman and Brodito got the 1, 2, 3 new trios champions. On one hand, yay. On one hand, yay. I love everybody. On the other hand, didn't the man just win these titles? Yeah, it was last week where they beat, what's the face? They beat the conglomeration. It feels like you wanted to give Hangman a belt, but you didn't want him to be a babyface team, so you just did a transfer. So you just demanded a traditional champion, and to that, I say boo. Boo, 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 boo. That was just stupid. I don't like that. I don't. This was a good match. Like I said, I don't hate Brodito and Hangman, but making the man traditional champion is stupid. I don't like that.
Yeah, no, I agree. I thought this was unfortunate all the way around. The only one that I mean, I'm a big fan of Brody King, so in that regard, I'm glad that he gets to win. I can take or leave Hangman, and Bandito is what he is. I thought there were a lot of issues with this match. I thought them getting the win was very. It doesn't make any sense. The demand has been one of the solid factions, trios, whatever, and for them to take a loss and to be a transitional champion and take a loss to essentially a Frankenstein trio. Yes, Tito and Brody King have been. Brodito's been together for a while, but it's essentially a Frankenstein trio. The trio that wrestles together should be beating the trio that doesn't wrestle together, no matter who's in it. And on top of that, there were so many spots in this match that were bad with Brodito. Unfortunately, I mean, there's the spot where they tried to pull Hangman and Brody King tried to pull Brodito like he rolled and they each took one arm and tried to lift him up to the top rope, and it looked terrible. And when he jumped, both Bishop Khan and Toleona put their arms up to catch him. I mean, it looked terrible. There were several spots with Bandito where I thought it didn't look right, where the moves didn't come off the right way. The only move that I thought looked good and made sense to me was the finish where he couldn't get Toa Leona over for the 21 plex, and they instituted the buckshot lariat to help him get him over. But it's not a 21 plex anymore. You can call it what you want to call it, but it's basically just a German suplex with a buckshot lariat. It's no longer a 21 plex. Yeah. So it is what it is. I don't like Ricochet and the Demand taking the loss. But like you said, I mean, I'm never mad at Brody King getting a title belt. So him being Trios champion is fine. I don't understand what we're doing with the Demand ultimately long term. Like, it doesn't make any sense to me. So, and there were some really bad, unfortunate spots with Brodito. So, but I enjoy Lucha Libre wrestling. They've got to find some way to do something to make it look less choreographed. They just have to. There's too many times where there's too much stuff they're trying to do that just looks too choreographed.
No, I totally get that. Where it is a catch-22 where you get a beautiful night of Vikingo just going up top and going balls to the wall, and then the next time it's like, oh shoot, a lot of crash instances where that the moves don't land right. So it is a catch-22, unfortunately.
Yeah.
All right, but
New
now
Trios champions. It is what it is.
who is this again? Like, that's why I don't like when things aren't thought through. Like who are they gonna go against? I don't want to see no offense. I didn't want to see this match, let alone a rematch of them versus Demand. What you call it? The Rascals, y'all don't act like they ain't gonna win this time soon. And the Dove Riders, no offense, they got too many pots. They got too many cooks in the kitchen. They need to focus on one thing and stay right there. That's just my opinion. So like, who's gonna get next? Like honestly.
Yeah, I don't know. I have no idea. It doesn't make any sense to me. It doesn't make any sense to me. It feels like there's more meat on the bones with heel Demand being trios champions than it does face Frankenstein, Hangman Page, and Brodito being champions. But yeah, that's why Tony Khan makes the decisions, I guess. That's a joy of being the owner. So
sure. All right, but now it's time for the main event, which is Ospreay versus Mark Davis in a Mexican street fight. Cool. But no, this was great. Listen, it's Ospreay and Mark Davis. Even though they're on opposite ends of even though all the jokes of what you call it, Ospreay Hogan because of all the time that his boys get a spot in the main event. I don't hate it because they're good. Like Hal Fletcher is good. Mark Davis is good. Even though she's annoying. Alex Windsor is good. So that's why you really can't say anything bad about it because what you gonna say? They can't do the job. That's a bold-faced lie. So them versus my like Ollie Open for life. United Empire for life, whatever. But yeah, this was a very brutal match. Why? Because like I asked why because like it really just feel like we just did this, but I don't say no reason, but it's just like all of a sudden, grr, me versus Mark Davis, I'm mad. And yeah, they had them 2 matches early on this year, but that was in January.
Yeah.
This was a very good match. It got very brutal, very much so fast. Thankfully, even though the brutality of it all, I did not feel like I wanted to punch y'all in the face. Where it's like, hey, don't do that. We got a interview in 2 weeks. But the last ending spot of the freaking barbed wire and then a hidden blade to the face. How do you do that and not hurt yourself? I don't like pain in any capacity. I don't like any pain. So, like, even if it's like a pinch. So, for you to say, hey, let's end this with a hidden blade while you're wearing barbed wire, no. I don't want to do that. But all in all, Ospreay wins. Surprise, surprise. But this was a very good main event. Again. The ending of Grand Slam Australia as a show. It was cool. We did do it. So when we're on a road to a review, I'm not saying every show should be focused on the review ahead, but it should be some straight up hey, just to be sure what's going on, right? I do need that. I do think Mercedes versus Willow did that. Cope and Christian and the Young Bucks did that as well. I guess the only one I'm missing is Kenny Omega. I think that's why I brought it up, where it's just like even I get it, you're Ospreay, but I would have loved after Ospreay won, Kenny comes out and beat the crap out of you. I would have loved that. But you just standing tall, okay, fine, whatever. but with It was a solid show. It was a solid wrestling 3 hours though. Sir, ma'am, whoever's in charge, Tony Khan. No. Especially on a Wednesday. And we all know we got work. No. Let's not do it. So that I'll give it a solid B. With a solid B. Good wrestling all around. If nothing, Cow Clutcher versus Speedball makes Bailey makes it worth it. It does. So solid B. Your thoughts on the main event and the show overall?
Yeah, I mean, I think basically the Jericho match and the length of the show drops it from an A to a B for me, or at least from an
Yeah.
A maybe to an A minus. I mean, I gave Collision a B. This was definitely a little bit better. This was better for me than Collision, so this would have to be a B plus. But I don't think it hit the A tier just because of a couple things. But that being said, hey, Mark Davis and Will Ospreay, holy smokes! I mean, if anyone had any doubt about whether Mark Davis could go as a singles wrestler, shouldn't have any doubt anymore. I mean, he put it all out on the line and he looked really good. That forward tombstone pile driver type thing he gave Osprey was insane. I honestly thought he almost had to win there. I thought it was almost. I mean, I don't know how he kicked out of that. So,
Real
and
quick,
yeah, I mean,
how
I thought Mark
Osprey
Davis
looked
put a
though.
hell of a show. I thought the two of them killed it. I thought Mark Davis showed, and I get that it's Dynamite. I get that it's Collision. We just had two matches: Will Ospreay versus Daniel Garcia in a main event of Collision, and Will Ospreay versus Mark Davis in a Dynamite in a main event of Dynamite. You can now see the difference between Mark Davis and Daniel Garcia. Like, no offense to Daniel Garcia,
Aww.
Mark Davis is a way better wrestler than Daniel Garcia. Ospreay versus Davis was way better than Garcia versus Ospreay. And I understand it was a street fight and there was more involved, but all those things considered, it was a way better match. These two tore the house down. I mean, this and Speedball versus Fletcher were definitely the two best matches of the night. I was a little by the time this match started, after the way the previous match ended, I was like, fuck, we got another match? Like the show's not over? But then the match was so good that by the time it was over, it was like, okay, it was worth it. I mean, I still
Yeah.
think it was too long. I think you could have cut the Jericho match and maybe, even other things. Could have cut maybe a couple of those flashback promos that you did, the video packages, and it still had a 2-hour show. So, yes, don't make it a habit to be 3 hours ever. I understand this is a special show, so it is what it is, but 3 hours on a Wednesday is a long freaking time. So, that
Yeah.
being said, I'll give it a B plus, which is a little bit better than the B I gave Collision. So, yeah, I've got Dynamite winning, and so did you. So,
Yeah.
um, the win.
Oh.
So this weekend, a victory over Collision, as it usually does. That does bring us to the end of our recap of AEW Grand Slam Mexico and Collision from the Thursday before. Dynamite did get the win by a slight margin. Both quality shows. There was definitely some really good wrestling. If you didn't see Speedball versus Kyle Fletcher, definitely check that out. And I advise watching Osprey versus Mark Davis. I thought it was a very good match.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
both those things. So we'll do some house cleaning and then we'll get out of here and give everyone back the rest of their night. So join us every Tuesday night for the cookout, where we talk about all that's cooking up in the world of professional wrestling. We come together 7:30 p.m. Pacific, 10:30 p.m. Eastern, every Tuesday night. So come for the wrestling, stay for the chaos. On Friday nights, you get Anika and sometimes Sammy watching SmackDown, 5 p.m. Pacific, 8 p.m. Eastern in real time, giving you their real time review and reactions to the show. So make sure and join her every Friday night. On Saturdays or Sundays, you get Winter Circle. We're here Sunday night this week. It's either Saturday morning, 7 a.m. Pacific, 10 a.m. Eastern, or Sunday nights, 5 p.m. Pacific, 8 p.m. Eastern. But we'll do it every weekend, one of those two times. The best way to make sure that you'll know know when Winner Circle goes up is to click that bell on the YouTube channel so that you get notifications every time we're about to go live. So this week, Collision or Dynamite did get the win. AEW Grand Slam Mexico got the win. I don't know that there's
Dynamite.
Dynamite, but we will call it
It's a Dynamite.
It's Dynamite. You can check us out on all the social media platforms. Come check us out, interact with us. Love to talk with you guys. Anything you guys want to talk about or interact with us, we're there. If you want to scan that QR code, the little horsey will take you to Linktree, where you can get to all of our social media from one location, or you can just go and check it out. And last but not least, you can listen to an audio version of the Cookout podcast if you don't have time to watch it, or if you already watched it and just want to listen to it again while you're driving around in your car, working out, doing whatever it is you want to do. You can get the audio version of the Cookout podcast on these podcast platforms. Our wonderful producer Dolores downloads the audio version and puts it up on those podcast platforms. So go over there and check out the audio version. I think that's essentially it. In the words of Dolores, our great producer, we can cut those lights. And until next time, peace.
Bye.
That's the call. Winner Circle standing tall. LW Sammy and